And we make that investment into the mentorship at the brokerage level because we know how important, how critically important it is for you to have some success in your first year, getting clients, making offers, making sales, closing deals, making commissions, because that keeps you in the business long enough to learn and be proficient down the road. Welcome back to the Modern Agent Podcast. My name is Logan Ricchetti with Modern Realty. This podcast is a combination of thoughts and opinions on the real estate market in Midland, Michigan with our local real estate agents from Modern Realty. Our mission is to create informed and confident buyer and seller clients, so tune in to learn more about Midland's real estate market. We see this question on AskMidland all the time. It says, I'm becoming a real estate agent, or I just passed my license exam and I'm looking for a brokerage to hire on with. Where should I go? And what you see in the comments is you see a lot of agents, most of them from, companies that have multi-level marketing structures where if they bring in an agent, they get some money, they get paid, posting on these comments saying, you should work with us, you should work here, you should work there. And it's very overwhelming to somebody who's trying to really get good information about where they should work and why, where they should hang their license and where they should go. So I'm going to try to break down why I think Modern Realty is the best place for a new agent to go. Number one, what it comes down to is new agent training. Once you pass your real estate exam and you're ready to go start selling real estate, you don't know anything yet. You haven't learned anything about the real estate life cycle, the buyer and the seller process, market analysis, and how to operate your multiple listing service software, how to do all these different things, how to show a house, how to list a house, how to prepare a house for sale, how to negotiate a house. There are so many things that you need to learn when you're a new real estate agent that where you go to learn those skills should come down to, in my opinion, who has the best training and who has the best mentorship. Nothing else really matters, because the truth of the matter is if you're a talented real estate agent, you're going to succeed anywhere you go, because most of your sales and most of your database is going to come from people you already know, like, and trust, and people who know, like, and trust you to work with you. All right. You're going to generate leads from other sources over time, and you're going to get referrals over time. But to begin with, and for the most part, your sales will come from your network of people. So where you go, what colors, you wear in your real estate company don't matter in terms of that. What they matter, why they matter, is that's where you're going to learn how to do the job. And so, there are a lot of factors that come into the decision of where to go when you're trying to pick a brokerage when you're brand new. But, there are different costs associated with different places where you work. There are different expectations with where you go. At some places, they expect a lot of you in terms of time commitments and showing up and doing things and being at certain places at certain times. Other brokerages don't even have an office, so there's no place to even go. And also, how much you pay, quote unquote, to work at a place versus how much you get to work at a place in terms of services and support and value, there's a wide range of that. You can go to a place that's a full service brokerage that provides all kinds of administrative support, all kinds of training, all kinds of lead generation and cultivation, all kinds of systems and processes, a building usually, a big office usually with a lot of team members. And then there are other brokerages that are cloud-based and they don't really have any kind of office per se. They do a lot of their training, if they have it at all, online or through modules and things like that. And typically those places don't cost, quote unquote, cost as much to work at as opposed to another place that costs a little bit more. So the question comes down to, what is the value of working at a place that costs more versus a place that costs less? And the answer to that question is, or should at least be, training. All right. Many real estate brokerages today have a model where the whole objective of the brokerage is for the agents to recruit more agents. So what they do is they say, hey, if you bring in an agent, then we will give you a commission split of we'll quote like a downline, like a multi-level marketing thing of any sales that agent makes. And it's not a lot of money, by the way. It's a very small amount of money, but it's a big allure to generating interest in working at a place where you get commission off of another agent's commission off another agent's commission. We're talking dollars, not a lot of money, but obviously if you have hundreds and hundreds of agents, then yeah, it's a different story. But in Midland, that doesn't really occur. So what you'll find though on these posts is that a lot of these agents will make comments and try to entice the commenter or the poster to work with their company, because if that happens, that person who makes that comment is going to potentially make some money on that person down the road. So there's a little bit of a conflict of interest. But more importantly, more generally speaking, what matters to you is the training and the mentorship. You have so much to learn if you're a new agent that you don't even know what you're getting into. And that's why there is a huge attrition rate in real estate sales professionals. They fall off at a really high rate. And the reason that is because they never get properly trained. It's very easy. As you know, if you're doing this now, you've done your 40-hour course, you passed that little test, you signed up for the state exam, you pass that state exam, good for you, that's hard to do. And now you have a license, you just need to hang it with a brokerage. So you're trying to pick which brokerage to hang it with. And the truth is, if you go to 10 brokerages in Midland, you'll probably get 10 job offers. And the reason that is, it's because brokerages don't have a lot of skin in the game in terms of your success. You're going to pay for most of your overhead, most of your expenses, typically, depending on where you go. And so, you coming in doesn't risk a lot to the brokerage, but if you do well, then the brokerage will benefit. So in reality, you need to be looking at these brokerages and interviewing these brokerages just like they're interviewing you, which is great. That's a nice thing. That's a nice position to be in, where you get to talk to multiple brokerages and see what they all have to offer, what makes them different, and then decide which one you think is the best fit for you. And then, of course, they're going to interview you to make sure you're a good fit for their culture as well. But chances are they're going to offer you a job, especially the cloud-based brokerages where there's no real culture incentive or any kind of concern about having a good camaraderie with the team, because there is no team really. They're just a bunch of independent agents that are doing their own thing. Obviously, they probably have some Facebook groups and whatever camaraderie that way, but it's not like it is with a Modern Realty or another big brokerage in Midland where they actually have teams of 20, 30, 40 agents that come together and they work together and they collaborate and they work, hand in hand in many cases. So again, it comes down to the training. It comes down to the mentorship. Anytime somebody asks about the cost of how much it costs to work at a place, I will tell you, I always caution those people. I always say, it doesn't matter. It makes no difference right now when you're new, how much it costs to work at a place. Because if you don't make sales, you're not going to pay anything there. And if you don't make sales, you're not going to survive in the industry there. So it doesn't matter. What matters is, and the question that you should be asking is, who will train me the best and the fastest? And who's going to make me a successful agent? Who has the plan? Who has the training? Who has the mentorship? Who has the track record to actually be successful with training me to be a successful agent? Now, I will give you a little hint. Every brokerage that you interview at will tell you that they have the best training. It's basically the standard attracting marketing tool for attracting new agents is to tell them, hey, we will train you. But let me tell you something. I know after a dozen years in this industry in Midland, the training is not the same. It's not even close. And what you might think to be the case, that the big nationwide brokerages, the big box brokerages that you've heard of, would have the best training. But the truth of the matter is, in my opinion, that's not the case. Now, when I opened a brokerage, I opened a boutique brokerage instead of going to a franchise for this very reason. I looked at all the franchises and I looked at their training and their mentorship, and it wasn't right. In my opinion, it's not good. I don't think that that's where you go to become a new agent if you're trying to be properly trained, which is why Modern Realty has developed the most comprehensive and the most successful training platform for new agents in Midland that's around. And that's not even really debatable. We have the Rookie of the Year award winner. It comes out of our office almost every single year. I think it's 9 out of the last 10 years or something like that. Every year we win. And if we don't win, we're close. And the reason that is, it's because our agents come in through our new agent training program and then they flourish. They make a lot of sales. And then more importantly to me, not only do they have a great first year when they start with Modern Realty, but their second year and their third year and their fourth year, they're still in the business and they're still growing. We have built a structure that helps new agents come into the business, have a chance to have enough time in the business to build some success, and then we help them to grow and build on that success year after year after year, which is where that compounding effect of all those past clients and the repeat clients and the raving fans, the referral partners, and all those different things start to compound exponentially over time. That's what matters to you as a new agent, is who is going to put you on that track. Okay. Now let me give you some examples of how training, when I say training and mentorship, those are just platitudes, but how they really, really matter at a granular level. Okay. For example, at Modern Realty, we have a training boot camp that has several chapters that layer onto each other. The first chapter is basics of our mission, our vision, our unique selling propositions, what makes our company different, which in turn makes you different. Then we talk about the buyer and the real estate client life cycle, how to take a client how to generate, cultivate, and convert leads, how to set, conduct, and follow up on appointments, how to sign clients, how to write and negotiate offers, contracts, and then how to manage closings. The whole client life cycle from start to finish. There's a buyer life cycle and there's a seller life cycle. We teach you about each one of those steps, each one of those phases, if you will, and also how to take a client through each one of those phases, and then how to build your skills so you can effectively do that over and over and over again, okay? That's how you learn about the real estate client lifecycle. It's step by step, stage by stage, and we have an assessment program where we actually quantifiably grade your success and your skills and your competence at each one of those phases. And so that, as you know, the ones that are low, that are red, that aren't looking good, we can dial those skills up until you're proficient at every phase of the life cycle. We also have the buyer and the seller roadmaps, which are the home buying and the home selling process for our clients. Now, one of the reasons that we put that together was to help to manage our mission, which is to create informed and confident buyer and seller clients. But also, we did it so our agents have a roadmap to tangibly walk their clients through each phase of the life of their home buying and home selling process. So for a new agent coming in, looking at a place like Modern Realty, you see all these tools that we have that all you have to do is learn them, and then you can implement them into your sales processes, from leads to appointments to clients, contracts, all the way to closings. You know, where I came from, I had to build that stuff. It didn't exist. And in a lot of places, even the big box brokerages, all of them, they don't have what we have in terms of guiding our clients through the life cycle and having all these tools for the agents to help them. So that's a big, big benefit of our training and our mentorship program, is that we have these tools already built, already dialed in, highly effective. They've been used thousands and thousands of times. So all you would have to do is come in and learn those tools. So for example, we have a buyer consultation slide deck. We have a listing presentation slide deck. Those are really effective systems and little tools that you use to help your clients understand the home buying process, help your clients understand the home selling process, and more importantly for you, help your clients to understand what your role in their transaction will be, which helps you to convert them from leads to appointments to clients of yours. Because what happens is you teach them about the home buying process, they understand your role in that process, and they understand how to hire you, and then they hire you because you've helped them to understand all that stuff. That is part of the training that you get at a new brokerage. Now, or it should be. If you go to some places, they throw you to the wolves and say, go call your past client, or go call your friends, go make some Facebook posts, go get us some clients, and we'll figure it out later. That's not how we do it. At Modern Realty, we break down the entire client lifecycle, the entire home buying and home selling process, our CRM, our multiple listing service, how to create a market analysis, how to manage our contract documents, all that stuff. We train you ahead of time. We give you as much time as you need to learn all those basics, all those fundamentals, so that by the time you actually do start going out and promoting yourself and networking and building a brand and all the things that you need to do after that, you have that infrastructure of knowledge already dialed in, already learned. Obviously, you're going to learn over time, but you're going to have a big, deep baseline of knowledge and understanding, because we take you through that mentorship and that assessment process, and that training process, I should say. And then one of the other things that you should be asking as somebody who wants to find a brokerage is, hey, is there a mentorship program? And if so, how does it work? And let me tell you something, it's almost impossible to be successful as a new real estate agent without a mentorship. It's just almost impossible. You could do it, but you don't know what you're doing. So how could you possibly know, what type of financing is better than another financing, what down payment you should put down into your contracts, what the earnest money deposit is, how many days it takes for loan approval versus, what's the standard closing period of time in Midland? What's the standard, inspection contingency period? You don't know these things. How could you possibly know? Somebody has got to train you and help mentor you. So you might have your best friend call you up and say, hey, I want to buy a house and I want to work with you because I know you're an agent now. And you'll say, great, I can't wait to help you through this process. I'm so excited. But the truth is, in your mind, you're thinking, oh boy, I don't know what I'm doing. And my best friend loves me and trusts me, but I don't really know how to do this. So I'm going to need some help. Now, this is where the mentor comes in. Okay. When you pick up a client like that and you start looking for houses and your buyer makes a decision, they want to make an offer. Well, guess what? The first time you're writing an offer, it shouldn't be on your own because you don't know exactly how to do it. Let's be honest. So that's where your mentor comes in. You sit down with your mentor, you go through every line item of the contract, you go over all the terms and all the different options, and you make sure you understand what's going on before you meet with your client. And then, depending on your comfort level, you can actually have your mentor perform the buyer offer writing process together with you. And your client should be okay with that because they love you and they know you're new. So it's no big deal. Now you got a mentor coming in that knows what they're doing. So that protects the buyers. They don't mind it usually, as long as you present that properly. If you don't have that mentorship, you're kind of on your own. What kind of a job are you going to do for your client if you don't know really how to do the contract, right? You need help. So that's where a mentor comes in. Now, here's part of the problem. Some brokerages have mentorship programs, some don't. The vast majority of the companies that actually have a mentorship program, there's a cost that comes with that mentorship. So, for example, if you have a mentor and you make a sale, you're going to get a commission. Some of that commission is going to go to your brokerage. That's how it works. Some of it's going to go to you. But out of that commission that goes to you, you're going to typically have to take some of that and pay your mentor. So you're going to get even less than you would normally be getting for this mentorship, which is a big bummer because a lot of times there's a disconnect between the value that you actually got for that mentor and what you paid him. At Modern Realty, we structured it differently. You come into Modern Realty, you get a mentor for 12 full months. That person trains you, mentors you, helps you with the assessments, helps you with the boot camp training, helps you with role playing, helps you with all the negotiations of contracts, writing contracts, listings, buyer open houses, all that different stuff. They help you. And then when you make a sale, they get paid, but they get paid out of the commission that the brokerage gets. In other words, the brokerage pays the mentor for your mentorship. And I don't think anybody around town does that but Modern Realty. That makes us very, very special. What that means for you is that you as an agent get all this mentorship, all this training, all this support, all this guidance, not to mention all the other benefits of working at Modern Realty, like our administrative support staff, our branding, our size, our companies, all the different things. But you get this mentor that's there, and every time you make a sale, they get paid, but you don't have to pay them. That's a big deal. And one other little wrinkle here, the commission incentive that your mentor gets at Modern Realty, they get a big compensation from the brokerage. So they are highly incentivized to help you make sales, which is what you want when you're a new agent. You want somebody helping you that's incentivized, that's fired up to help you make sales because they benefit big time. And we make that investment into the mentorship at the brokerage level because we know how critically important it is for you to have some success in your first year, getting clients, making offers, making sales, closing deals, making commissions, because that keeps you in the business long enough to learn and be proficient down the road. So we make a heavy financial investment in your success up front, with the understanding or the expectation that you're going to be successful and you're going to build a pipeline and build a bunch of sales and build a career that you can sustain over 5, 10, 20 years. And so up front, our brokerage makes that investment in you, and that's very, very unusual. That's why you should be coming to Modern Realty to learn how to become a real estate salesperson. That's why in these Ask Midland groups, when there's 50, 60, 70 different options of where you should go, the place that you should definitely call is Modern Realty. Give us a chance to show you what this looks like, and gives us a chance to help you understand the mentorship program, the training, and the support. And I think you'll realize that this is the place where you're going to be most likely to succeed, and that's why it's important to give us a shot. So reach out to us, and we'll help you out. Another big question I see on Ask Midland is, hey, we're about to buy our first house, and we need a real estate agent. Do you have any suggestions? Modern Realty is the best place to call to find a real estate agent to help you in your home buying process. Let me explain why. Number one, we have the most comprehensive home buying process tools to help you learn about the home buying process. We've broken down what we call the buyer roadmap into 6 steps with 18 moving parts: prepare, search, offer, finance, due diligence, and close. If you've never bought a house before, you just don't understand what the home buying process really looks like, what it entails. A Modern Realty agent will help you to understand the entire home buying process at the beginning before you even get started. That's why it matters. Also, we are your buyer's agent. The way this works, it's hard to understand, but the way it works is you don't pay us for the service of representing you through the home buying process. We get paid by the listing agent who represents the seller. So what that means for you as a new buyer is that you can have great professional representation, an agent that represents your interest and works on your behalf, and you don't even have to pay us to do that. So that's pretty special. There's a lot of other benefits to having an agent from Modern Realty. One of the biggest ones is we have 50 agents in our brokerage. So we know about all the upcoming listings in town. We know all the data. We have access to all kinds of statistical data, days on market for a house, how many times it sold in the past, how much it sold for in the past. If you see a house that you're interested in, we can compare that house to other houses for sale to help you understand what that house is really worth before you make a decision. And also, a lot of people don't know this, but an agent from Modern Realty can show any listed house. So any house listed by any other competing brokerage, we can show those houses. You don't have to call each brokerage to see each listing. A lot of people don't realize that. Once you have a buyer's agent representing you, all you got to deal with is that one person. That one person will help you. You call the person up or text them and say, hey, here's 3 houses I'm interested in. They're listed by 3 different brokerages. Your agent will say, okay, great. Let's set up a time to see all 3. We'll go with the first one at 1 o'clock, then 1:30, then 1:45. We'll schedule them in order. And all you got to do is show up and walk through each house with your agent. And here's the best part. Your agent is unbiased in that scenario because your agent's job isn't to sell you one house. It's to help look at all the houses and analyze all the benefits and all the features of each house and which houses line up with your needs and your desires the most. And then, of course, to help you negotiate the contracts and write the offers and do all that different stuff. They represent you through the whole process. So yes, number one, this was a good idea to go on Ask Midland and to ask for recommendations for who the best buyer's agent is for your home buying process. Number 2, call Modern Realty because we have the best buyer's agents in town, guaranteed. And we will help you through that entire home buying process step by step and help you to really understand what you're getting into, really understand what to expect. Another benefit of working with Modern Realty versus some other brokerages is we don't use a buyer-broker contract. Instead, we have something called a loyalty agreement. It's a non-binding contract, or it's a handshake-style agreement. It's not a contract. And what it says is, hey, look, we agree to give you great service and work hard to find you a house. You agree to work exclusively with us. But it doesn't lock you into a contractual obligation for a certain period of time, which other brokerages in town actually hold you to. So it's a little bit less of a stressful, scary situation. It's more of a commitment to working with each other. And part of that loyalty agreement lays out all these benefits and features of working with us. You know, we agree to work hard. We agree to work fast. We agree to get you into every house you want to see, and ensure a pleasant home buying experience and all those different things. And of course, not to charge for those services, which is the big benefit to you as well. So in conclusion here, if you're on Ask Midland, if you're looking for an agent to help you buy your first house or just any house or sell a house, of course, reach out to Modern Realty. We're going to take care of you. We're going to take you through a buyer consultation process up front. That's either an in-person or a Zoom meeting where we take you through a short slideshow and really help you to understand exactly what you're getting into, exactly what to expect, all the steps of the home buying process, all the things that we need to look for. We can help you to get pre-approved. We can help you to define your buying criteria. We can start scheduling showing appointments. We can go through the entire process of hiring the agent and going all the way from step 1 all the way to step 18 and getting you to the closing table. And then I think you will feel comfortable knowing that you've hired an agent that's going to protect you and guide you patiently and ethically through the whole process. So that's very important. Reach out to Modern Realty. We'll connect you with a buyer's agent and we'll get you started. Recently, I wrote 2 offers, all cash, full price, and both of those offers were rejected. And so it got me to thinking a couple things. Still in Midland, we're still seeing a seller's market. Sellers are still in control. Full price cash offers are still losing sometimes, which is a bummer. Not always, but these were both of these properties were properties that needed a little bit of work, so they were selling at a discount. And it was an investor buyer that wanted to come in there, buy the houses, fix the houses, and then resell them or rent them out. So what I realized in this scenario is that cash offers, full price, are great, but when you're in a multiple offer scenario, there's a lot of different elements at play, and there are a lot of different ways to manage that situation. From a seller standpoint, from a listing agent standpoint, I want to talk about the highest and best concept and how it works, and then also how we can take the highest and best concept to the next level, and how I think a lot of agents are missing an opportunity to do this, and by extension, they're not representing their sellers as well as possibly they could. So if you need to sell a house, this is something that you really want to listen to. It's very important that your listing agent, your agent that you hire to sell your house, understands how to manage a multiple offer negotiation and how to leverage that all the way to the top. So here's how it typically goes. You're the listing agent, you're the seller, you're selling your house. Your listing agent calls you up, says, hey, great news, we got an offer from buyer A. So buyer A comes in and writes an offer, and that's great. So we take that offer, we look at it, and while we're looking at it, we call buyer B, C, D, and E, who have also looked at the house. We call them up and say, hey, just want to let you know, we've received an offer. If you want to make an offer, you need to do so right away. So offer B, C, and D all say no, and buyer E says, yeah, we want to make an offer too. So that buyer writes an offer. They know that there's already an offer on the table, so typically that second offer is going to be better than that first offer. Not always, but typically. So that offer comes in. Now we have an offer from buyer A and buyer E, okay? So what do we do next? There's something that we need to do. Well, we need to compare those two deals and see what they look like and see which one's better and see which terms are better and more attractive and get as much information about each buyer and each scenario and each loan product and all those different things, inspection period, closing day, all the other contingencies that are involved in the contract. We need to analyze both of those together. Okay. Now, what typically happens from here, because the agent has received multiple offers, what they typically do is they go back to both buyers and say, we've received multiple offers. Please send us your highest and best, which is effectively, it's not a counteroffer. It's not an official counteroffer. It's a suggestion to change the offer. So we do that, and we typically put a deadline on that. We say, hey, please send us your highest and best by 5 o'clock tonight. So the agent sends that message to buyer A agent and buyer E agent, and they convey it to their buyers. And then one of two things happen. Either the agent and the buyer increases their offer or they keep it the same. So at that point, once you've received those answers, you have now 4 pieces of data. You got 2 offers that came in, and then you have 2 highest and best offers from the same buyers. So now you're really starting to see what the market value is likely to be, because not only did we get an offer that came in, but we got an offer that came in with a buyer who knew another buyer had written an offer. And then we got 2 offers that came in knowing that those 2 buyers were really competing with each other to try to get the house. Now, usually what happens is the listing agent says, okay, this one is 200 and this one is 203. We're going to go with this one, 203. That's it. Okay. This is where I get a little frustrated. And this is where I think a lot of listing agents leave money on the table. A lot of listing agents are very robotic about how this process works. And they say, well, I did the highest and best. I got the highest and best offer. So we're going to take that and that's it. However, what I like to do and what I can do, what I do sometimes, again, this depends on each scenario and it depends on the seller's intent and motivation and a lot of different factors. Okay. But there's nothing written in the world that says you can't go back to buyer E and say, hey, buyer E, your offer is not the highest and best, but we like your terms. So we'd like to counter your offer at 205. And if you accept that offer, the deal is yours. That's an official counter offer. Okay. The buyer already sent their highest and best. It was 200. Well, guess what? That's not enough. And so if we don't do anything else, that buyer is not going to get the house because we're going to take buyer A's offer. So there's no risk in working with this buyer to try to get a better deal. And when I say risk, there's not a lot of risk because if they say no, then we're going to take buyer offer A and we're done. But there's no risk of offending or bothering the buyer to say, hey, look, your highest and best offer wasn't good enough. You're doing them a favor. Okay. Imagine you're a buyer and you make your highest and best offer and you don't really know what to make. So you buyer out 200 and then I call you up and say, hey, your offer is rejected. You might be disappointed. You might have paid more if you had the opportunity to know what you needed to pay to get the deal. So that's why going back to buyer E and saying, hey, your offer was not the highest and best, but your terms look good. We'd like to make you a proposal. And you have until 6 o'clock tonight to answer. If you want to go 205, all other terms the same, you got a deal. So then they either say, yes, we got a deal, or they say, no, 200 was our best offer. So if they say, no, our best offer was 200, you say, okay, great, I'll be in touch. You go back to buyer A, and then you do one of 2 things. If they say, yes, we love 205, thank you, here's the written counter, then we say, great, you got a deal. Then we go back to buyer A, and we say, unfortunately, your offer was not the highest and best. We've chosen another offer, and thank you for making your offer. We'll let you know if anything changes. So what happens here is we have the terms of offer E that we happen to like more, and we were able to leverage this scenario to get a better price from offer E, okay? Offer E might have been a cash buyer. They might have been a 30-day close. They might not have had a sale contingency that buyer A had, or whatever. There might be whatever it is about this offer that we like better other than the price. We can negotiate the price and try to drive the deal on this offer versus the other one that isn't as attractive. Now, let's keep going. Let's say we went back to offer E and they said, no, sorry, 200 was our highest and best. We say, oh, great. Thank you for the offer. We'll be in touch. Then we go back to A and we do one of 2 things. We say, hey, look, 203, highest and best. You got a deal. Thank you. Or we could go back to buyer A and say, hey, look, we'd like to count. We like your terms. You're looking good. We'd like to counter you at 205 and see if they take it. Now, that's a little bit more risky because you don't have anything else backing that up. And anytime you make a counteroffer, there is risk, okay? Especially if it's a highest and best counter, because they might say, we're offended by that. We gave you our highest and best. And even if they hold the line, which sometimes the buyer will do, then you kind of lost the good faith of the contract that you tried to push them too far, or they're offended, or sometimes they even walk away, which is nuts, but it happens. So the idea for maintaining deal momentum here in this scenario is go back to offer A and probably say, hey, look, 203 sounds great. You got a deal. Accept it as written, sign it, and then reject the other offer E. And then you've done a great job because you got a multiple offer scenario. You drove highest and best, and you got the highest and best offer you could get. So, but the point here is that most agents just stop at the highest and best. They look at the highest and best and they take it. They don't go that next step, that extra mile to go back to buyer E and say, hey, buyer E, we'd like to make you a counter proposal. That's where the magic can happen. And that's where you earn your commission as a listing agent, is to really drive the maximum value for your client. So if you're selling a house, it's important that you hire an agent that understands how to do this very, very well, because I'll tell you this, it's one thing to get an offer. It's another thing to get 2 offers, but it can happen where you blow it completely. I'm telling you, I've seen it happen lots of times where an agent gets 2 great offers and ends up with no contracts. This is a skill that needs to be managed. And by the way, you as the seller need to be involved in the planning of this, in the strategy of these conversations, and the way that you decide to proceed. But it's your agent. It's your agent's job to guide you strategically and tactically through these decisions and to manage the flow of information. That's a big deal. When things are communicated, in what order they're communicated, how much time is given between each communication. These things matter, and your listing agent needs to understand exactly how to do this stuff. This is why you pay commissions. This is why you pay the big bucks, is so that your deal is managed properly and your contracts are received and you get a deal and you get the best price and the best terms possible for your house. And then from there, the contract is managed all the way to the closing table and kept together. That's why you need a talented listing agent. If you need to sell your house, reach out to me. I want to help you manage this transaction, and I want to do it in the best possible strategic way to help you maximize your position and have a great outcome. One last thing I want to mention is for agents who are purchasing paid leads for buyers and sellers through websites like Zillow, Trulia, Homes.com, Realtor.com, Fast Expert, any of those lead generating websites. If you are spending money to generate and purchase leads that come in for those, it is critically important that you take the calls right away. It's critically important that you reach out right away to these contacts, to these leads, because what happens is if a buyer is going on Zillow and clicking, I want information about a house, and you get that lead, that buyer is on their phone, on their computer, on their tablet right now. 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes from now, 20 minutes, 30 minutes from now, they're doing something else. And let me tell you something else. If they click on that button about getting more information, more than likely that lead is going to more than one agent. So the speed to the lead is what's critical. Whoever calls first, whoever texts first, whoever gets in touch first wins. So if you're spending hundreds and thousands of dollars every month to buy leads and you're not calling those leads immediately, you are really leaving money on the table. It's a really, really bad strategy to not call these leads right away. So let's say, what do you say when you get a lead that says, I have requested more information about ABC 123 Main Street? What do you say? Well, if you're texting or calling, the conversation is kind of the same. It's, hey, this is Logan at Modern Realty calling. I got your inquiry for information on 123 Main Street. I'm going to send you some information right now. Do you have any specific questions? And would you like to see it? And that's all you need to do. Some version of that. You need to contact them immediately, show them you're a real person, and then offer the value that they're asking for. It's usually more information. You don't want to just say, hey, what information can I get you? Lead off with, hey, I'm sending you information. Do you have any specific questions? And would you like to see the house? Those are valuable questions, valuable responses to a buyer who has inquired on a house. It's very, very important. That's a big deal. Now, another thing to do that's really helpful is I like to send video text messages, and I like to make them customized. So I'll send the text or the call right away, and then I'll follow up with a video text in a couple of minutes. And what I notice a lot of times is I don't get a response until they watch the video. And that is because they have no idea who you are. When somebody inquires on a house and they want information and they click enter, submit, they don't know who they're going to be getting. They have no idea who you are and why that you're a real person. So sending a video text is a great way to show somebody, hey, look, I'm a real person. I want to help you. I work at this company. And now you're starting to build rapport with this person before they've even contacted you back, either through text or phone or whatever. That's a really easy thing to do. So you just flip your phone over and say, hey, this is Logan at Modern Realty. I just got your inquiry on 123 Main Street. I'm sending you information, and I want to let you know that I would love to help you learn more about this house and some other houses just like it. By the way, there's another house coming up for sale in a couple of weeks in my office. I think it's right down the road. So if you're interested in that, let me know. Maybe we can get some more information on that one too. So what I did just there was I just gave the buyer a really good reason to follow up with me that's valuable to the buyer. Okay. That's a benefit of working at a big company. You know, a lot of listings that are coming out, or even if you don't have that, you could still call and say, or you can still say, hey, look, there's another house down the road that I just showed the other day. It's similar to this one. It's a little bit more expensive. It has an extra bedroom. I'd love to show you that one too. So you start becoming valuable to the lead immediately so that the lead wants to actually work with you or at least talk to you because you're demonstrating some things that they need right away, AKA some value for them. The second thing is you have to follow up with these people. A lot of times they don't answer you right away and that's it. Buyers just give up. Well, guess what? If you get a buyer lead, whether it come from Zillow or come from your brokerage website or wherever it comes from, you need to value that lead at $50,000. That's what that lead is worth to your career earnings. And I'll give you an example why. Okay. First of all, that buyer, they buy a house for $200,000. That's a $6,000 commission. They sell it next year. That's another $6,000 commission. They buy a new house a couple years later. That's $9,000. But more importantly, they refer you to friends. They refer you to family. You help those friends and family sell and buy houses over the years. They refer you to friends. They refer you to family. You can see how over the course of 10, 20 years, one lead can be worth tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars to your business if you convert it. So that's why you have to follow up with the leads. You can't just reach out once and then give up. You're leaving tens of thousands of dollars in commissions on the table over the course of your career. Every time you reach out to that buyer, just reach out to them like you already are working with them. That's a little tip. So you send the text, you send the email, you make the call, you leave the message, you send all this stuff. They never reach out to you. No problem. Keep reaching out to them every day. Just say, hey, Joe, hope you're doing well. I found another house I thought that was similar to the 123 Main Street that you inquired on the other day. Here's a link to it. Let me know if you want to take a look. Hey, Joe, here's our market report that we put together at Modern Realty for buyers. I want to send you a link just so you can have it. Hey, Joe, here's our Buyer Advantage program. Hey, Joe, here's our loyalty agreement. Hey, Joe, hey, Joe, hey, Joe. Keep reaching out to this person and don't be weird. Don't be desperate. Just say, hey, just keep bringing valuable texts and valuable emails and calls to the client until they respond. And hopefully they respond. They don't always respond. You're going to just lose a lot. It's part of the game. But if you quit, you lose for sure. If you try 10, 15 times before you quit, a lot of times on that 5th, 6th, 7th reach out, they finally call you back or text you back and say, yeah, actually, this is an interesting one. Or yeah, I do want to learn how to get pre-approved. I would love a referral from your lender. Those are the kind of things that you got to do over the course of weeks. And that's why you need a CRM. That's why you need a follow-up system. That's why you need to be organized. That's why you need a deal pipeline. That's why we have HubSpot. And we have these systems to make sure when a lead comes in, a task that says schedule buyer appointment goes onto your to-do list until it's done. But I see this all the time, and I want to encourage everybody who's buying leads or who gets a lead distributed to them, either through a referral or through the brokerage network or whatever, call the leads right away. Don't call them an hour from now. Don't call them this afternoon. Call them immediately. If you're eating a sandwich at Lucky's, put the sandwich down and make the phone call. Every second matters, and that's a big deal. You want to be the first one that buyer talks to, and you want that lead to convert to a client for you so you can help them through the process. And then down the road, they can use you again and refer you to others, and your business can grow. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Modern Agent Podcast. Please follow at Modern Realty Midland on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And if you need to buy or sell a house, please reach out to Modern Realty by going to www.modernrealty.us. Modern Realty, your home, our focus.